Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to TRS Live with your hosts Brian Keller, Matt Tratz, and Zach Hoffman, presented by The Real Shot.
I'ma do this here forever.
EQ.
Forever.
Triune.
Forever.
Yeah.
Forever. I'ma do this here forever.
Let's go.
All you haters better get comfy. This the day you've been waiting on. Y'all road is finna get bumpy. This the track I'm making my statement on. I ain't going nowhere. This the place that I'm making home. I'll do this shit forever. Hit the gas and I'm taking off. Ow. I was born with passion. My job is never ending and my hustle's everlasting. No matter what, I'm gon' ball, even with my back to the wall. And the best part is that this is the beginning. I'ma do this here forever. Forever.
I'm having a good time. Not.
Did you ever see that scene in Scanners when that dude's head blew up?
You ready?
Go. What do we do?
We're having fun on Friday.
This is great. I don't know what to do.
This.
All right, guys, show is over. Thank you all for watching, and good night. All right, what's up, everybody?
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
We had to play that because the camera's on just me alone. Well, Zach's on there as well.
I'm here too, but
we're not sure what to do
We don't
today. What we're going to do is there's no other people in this room.
literally none.
Brian's gone on his way to a fishing trip. So what we said we were going to call this the bow buying show, but it's turning into the Brian bashing show.
Yep.
He's not here to defend himself. So, Brian, if you're watching this, I feel bad for you because it's about to happen.
It's about to go down. It is going to go. We're just kidding.
Yeah.
But
morning, Ryan. Morning, Megan.
Good
We got a
morning.
couple Megans tuning in. Vinny, what's going on? Hey, we're excited. It's Friday, and a lot of exciting things are still going on in the store right now.
Oh yeah.
If you haven't been in the Real Shot, Zach's going to get some pictures up, at some point, in the next couple of days.
Definitely.
Total facelift.
Total facelift. I mean, if you're local, if you're local to our store, you'll probably remember that we had two separate counters, and sometimes you had to switch between which one you were going to, and
Right.
that was funky. And then the range thing going down, which is changing, and it's actually happening pretty quick. There's gonna be a wall coming down.
The wall.
The wall. We're bringing down the wall.
Yeah.
It's literally 1991 here in the Soviet Union,
That's
and
right.
we're taking that
taking
wall
the
down.
I love it. Megan wanted to inform us right away that Brian's listening.
Oh, he's definitely
for sure
listening.
he's listening.
Hi, Brian. Thank you
Hey,
for
Brian.
joining our show.
I
Glad
don't
we can
know
have
if
ya.
he is listening because I don't see that he's watching.
Well, if he's driving, he might be on TRSOutdoors.com.
Oh,
let me
right.
check how many people are watching from
Yeah.
TRSOutdoors.com.
John Volkman, good morning. So a lot of cool things happening. Like we talked about last time. Like the deadline is this month to be able to sell guns.
Yep.
In the Real Shot.
It's March now.
It's
March
dude.
1st.
Happy
Welcome
March
to March.
1st. Happy March 1st.
This is great. It's a March now. That means we're a little bit closer to spring. We're a little bit closer to open water fishing, which is what I've been waiting for all winter long.
The other day I saw something and somebody posted something like, what's it like in your state right now as far as weather-wise? And
Miserable.
I said, yeah, I did. I said, I live in the state of depression, a.k.a. Wisconsin, because
That's exactly it.
There's snow all over the place, and they're calling for another 1 to 3 day again.
Well, they are, and you know what this is something that I brought up to a couple of people back, before winter hit. I'm like, you think about it, look at the weather patterns. I mean, yes, climate change, is it real? Is it not? It definitely is in some way, shape, or form. But
right.
the seasons are just shifting. They're moving backwards a little bit, and this is definite proof that that's happening, which I'm okay with.
You get into that
Kinda.
stuff more than I care
I
to
know.
get into, which is fine. I
Right.
mean,
I'm just saying weather. We're talking about the weather. Why don't we take this one step
tell you
further
what,
and talk about
it's
the
weather
why?
outside, and it'll be weather every day of the week.
Whether or not
Whether
you like
you
it,
want it, yeah.
whether or not you like it,
Yeah, there will be some kind of weather out there
it's always weather.
with
So-
Mike, so I'm sure they will be on as soon. Oh, okay, cool. Cody Gray, I like that. Cody's tuning in. Cody, Let me slow it down here. I've had a little bit too much wilderness athlete already this
A
morning.
little bit too much.
This show will pertain really well to Cody because he came in here and he purchased a bow from me and Matt Eggert.
For sure.
And so we kind of went through all the steps with him. So that's kind of what we're going to get into today is the bow buying process. We're going to touch a little bit on crossbows, but we're mostly going to be touching about vertical bows. And why is that? Because I cannot handle another fishing show.
You should see him after the show. He's like, all we do is talk
Duck
about fishing.
I couldn't
I don't
handle
want to.
another fishing show. And I know if Brian was listening, he'd be like, that's most of our business. I'm like, yeah, but I just like listening to Zach talk about the weather. I don't care.
I'm actually a closet meteorologist, if you didn't know that, And you're like you're not even a closet, like you're just a bow hunter. You live, breathe, and eat, sleep.
Well, so here we go. I don't know how much they can see of this in the background, but I literally have crossbows, I have vertical bows all around me. Right now, I love my wife, but I feel like I'm surrounded by supermodels. I'm not even kidding you.
You did bring in a very, very sexy
I have an
lineup.
array of weapons in this room right now where I feel like if I could kick back, I'm like,
I think
what's up?
I also
What's
like
up?
the fact that you put the best looking and best performing bow right in front of you.
Yeah,
Are you trying to fight right now?
Yeah, I just felt
I
like you're so excited about that your bow is here and it's finally set up and
I'm
you're ready
excited.
to roll.
Ready
and
to
I
roll.
believe I have Jessica Munt's bow on my left over here. I got some Bear Cruisers. I got some Diamonds. I got some Eva Shockeys. My wife's going to be excited because I brought the Eva Shockey on here. I got some Ravens. So we got all kinds of cool stuff. But basically what this show is going to be about today is when you walk into the Real Shot, how as a consumer you can be prepared, and then the things that you're going to expect to have.
Right.
And the questions you're going to be asked. So before we get into that kind of stuff, Zach, keep me posted. Andy Wicklund, Nick Brantner, good morning to everybody. I got a couple of announcements I want to make on here. First of all, I want to say go Wild Rose. They're in the playoffs tonight. Second round, my home team. So good luck to the boys Wild Rose basketball team today. I'm going to be at that game, so I'm pretty stoked. I don't remember who they're playing, but it doesn't probably matter.
Because they're going to win anyways.
I hope so. They got an awesome squad. We're a little young. We got some juniors that are going to be coming back, some sophomores. So good luck to all the seniors and everybody like that too. But
for sure,
don't forget, it is Friday.
It is Friday.
And we do our free hat giveaway.
And
I can move it.
Yeah, if you just want to pick it up. It's underneath
our Scent Crusher hat today.
There you go.
Now, I love all the comments that I have to go through. I'm going to try to set it right there. But today's date possibly is a hint for the number.
Ooh.
So it might be a fast one after people figure that one out. So that's pretty awesome.
Man, I'm thinking there's so many possibilities as to
there
what that
are,
could be.
but that's today's hint. We also have Zach talk about quick TRS Outdoors and what's going on over there.
Yeah, TRS Outdoors. So as everybody who's watching knows, we do have a secondary website that's not just therealshot.com, but if you go to outdoors.therealshot.com or trsoutdoors.com, they'll take you to the same place. We have this guy right here. This website is being updated with all of our podcasts. You can see it right on the right-hand side of your screen. We've got all of our audio-only podcasts linked right there.
Yep.
You can also get to Podbean from that part of our website.
Nice.
Front page, if you haven't yet signed up for our affiliate program, we've got a link for it right there. Otherwise, we've got a bunch of content coming, especially with spring coming and the ice opening up and a little bit more hunting coming back around and whatnot.
Kind of like what Travis Manson was talking about on Wednesday's show. We're
Right.
feel like caged animals right now, just like everybody else does. So make sure you head over there because also on there, talk about the real giveaways, Zach.
Yep. So then if you go to trsoutdoors.com, something we're going to start running quite often are these giveaways. And if you go to the website, on the top of your screen, there's that bar there. It has the giveaways thing at the far right. You can actually see our current giveaway that's going on right now, which today and for the rest of this month up until I think the 25th.
Well, does it? Oh, there's a countdown
20
right
days
there.
left.
20
Yeah,
days left.
20 days left. So on the
real
21st.
giveaway. Yep.
You're going to be able to have a chance to win this Shimano Stratic CI4.
That reel's
now,
phenomenal.
It is. It's been told by many to me that it's the best spinning reel on the market right now.
Yep.
And we're giving one away in the more expensive variant. There's a bunch of ways to enter. We've got 8,508 total entries right now, and we'd like to see that like double over the next 20 days
well,
at least. But
It's
this is definitely
it's a $240-$50 reel.
230 here at the Real Shot.
230, and so I mean that's a.
That's a lot of money.
I
for a
do
reel
get a
that you
kick
can
out
get
of
for free.
people though, like when they're like, they get a little bit upset about the steps they have to go through, but you're literally winning it.
Right.
I mean, if most you have to pay is shipping,
and we made it easy for you. Now that we've got this new program that allows us to do all this, like literally the best thing in the world. I love that program, and I don't know what we were doing without it for the longest time.
Right.
But this is so cool, and it makes it so that anyone who wants to enter to win, you literally pull up this one page and just follow the instructions. You don't have to do anything yourself. So you don't have to open Instagram and follow us. You don't have to open Facebook and like us.
I would love for
Really
Free
nice.
Hat Friday to get on that thing, so I don't have to. We had what was that one? It was like almost 2,000 comments that I had to go through.
2,000 comments, and my favorite, I think it was 1.7 thousand comments and not one winner.
Right.
I don't know how.
I might have missed it. I might have. That's the problem. Like I was literally
that's true.
going. And the reason too is like sometimes you guys call me,
Morning, Jim.
Good morning, everybody. Tech illiterate, which I am. It's not a lie, but
Yep.
like every time I'd have to scroll, you'd have to see the more comments.
Yeah,
it would move on me,
and then it'd move them up, and then it also was all messed up. So, anyways, we've got a new program to host our giveaways, and it's awesome. So go on over there if you haven't. Go sign up for it. You got 20 days, and somebody is going to take home a Stratic CI4 Plus.
Well, and don't forget to tell. Like this is the test. Like,
this is the test.
If this one doesn't go well,
then we're not going to give away anything anymore.
Yeah, we're just going to say no.
So seriously, if you guys
fold
want
our
this,
pouty arms and just be done with
yep,
it.
no, we're done.
We're
We're
kidding.
done now.
But no, we have a bow that we're going to throw on there eventually. Once this one's over with, we have a bow. We have some ice fishing stuff.
Yep.
I mean, we have supplies. So let's just make this first one successful.
And all we want to do with this is we're just trying to help grow our audience so that we can bring you guys better content, more content, and keep our jobs. So seriously, just go sign up for this giveaway, okay? I really need job security,
That is
true.
I like how Ryan's like, I'm going to win. How much more free stuff can that guy get?
Yeah. I mean,
he's going to probably say like shortly here, as much as I want.
Right.
And then we appreciate that. Ryan's a definitely one that follows us all the time. We appreciate him.
I would say that Ryan's like our biggest fan right now. Besides us, we're a fan of ourselves, but
give Ryan
Ryan,
dude, applause.
You're in it.
Tony's on. Captain James Keller, he's down there in Florida, I still believe, soaking up some sunshine. So moving on from that, so the real giveaway that's on TRS Outdoors. You can do it on Facebook, social, or Instagram, wherever we're at. Twitter. Are you going to take over that Twitter stuff?
Yeah, I've been posting here and there to Twitter. Twitter's just a weird area of places for people who don't have a lot of followers to not be seen, but then people who are famous get seen a lot.
Right.
So we're trying to figure out how to attack Twitter, and I think we've just been redirecting like a lot of our posting to there. Yeah. But Twitter also has a really, really short amount of words you can put in there compared to the other two. Like Facebook is like thousands of words or letters. Instagram is over 1,000, and then Twitter's like, you get 200. Yeah, and I'm like, that's a sentence.
Try to sum stuff up in 200 words. Tough.
Right.
Moving on to next week, we'll just kind of touch on that right away. One thing we have going on next Friday here at the Real Shot, March 8th and 9th.
Yep.
We got lucky enough. We're having a turkey call judging contest right here at the Real
2019
Shot. Great Lakes
Open. Great Lakes Open. It's a really long title.
Hosted by the Wapaka Longbeards.
Yep.
NWTF chapter. So that's really cool. Carl Lutke, who works here, is going to be on Monday.
Definitely.
Talking about this. And, it's one of those things where we're like, what exactly is going on with this? Well, we're going to have over 150 calls in store from all over the United States.
It's going to be cool. I'm excited. I'm not even a turkey hunter. I'd like to become one. And I remember being a kid playing with all the calls and whatnot. So I think this is going to be like a kid in a candy shop this weekend.
The neat thing is first of all, they're going to be judged, I think, in two different categories, hunting and decorative.
Yep.
But the decorative ones still have to be functional. They still have to make a turkey call. So then obviously we'll talk about this more on Monday, but it's open Saturday and Sunday to the public. Saturday is a little more restricted because that's when all the judging happens.
Right.
But then did I say Saturday? I meant Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And then Saturday we want customers to come in. You can actually play with the turkey calls, handle them. Obviously don't drop them because they do get sold and go for,
hefty chunk.
I I can't remember all the proceeds go. We'll find out from Carl more on Monday. But that you coming in playing with these calls helps judge the best of shows. So
Definitely.
that's March 8th and 9th here at the Real Shot. We'll talk about that more on Monday.
For sure.
Then Wednesday we have Caleb. I always mess up his last name. Neidfield, whatever.
I think it's Neidfeld.
Yeah.
I do believe.
He's a big fan of the Real. Not a fan. He's a big friend of the Real Shot, and he has his organization is Fishing for the Heart. He did a seminar in here last part of 2018. So
and we're going to talk Fishing in the Heart too that day.
Yes.
And I'm excited to talk about it because I know we talked
awesome
when he was
organization.
here. But definitely.
So he's going to Skype in. I wish we could have him in studio. What we're working on with him is doing some late panfish tactics.
Yep.
We're going to try to film that. Whether it's out this year or not, we'll see. But late season this year might be April.
Yeah, we don't know
fishing.
right now.
So,
this is a weird winter.
So yeah, we got Carl, Caleb. I'm just going over all my notes. Happy birthday to Miles Warwick. He'll be on March 13th. He's our Shimano, Jackal, all that awesome stuff rep. So he'll be in the studio on the 13th.
Awesome.
And then I think that's pretty much it on my notes. So let's get right into this.
Right into it. So what do we want to talk about first today?
Okay, so here's, as a boat technician, and we have Matt Eggert and we have Mark. You know, I've been doing this now with the Real Shot for almost 7 years, I believe. Been bow teching, bow wrenching, as you want to say, pretty much majority of that time. Am I the best tech in the world? I'm going to say probably not, but I try to learn every single day. But the cool thing about it is I have Matt Eggert, who is a phenomenal wrench, and we have Mark Druick, who is also a phenomenal wrench. So with the three of us plus some part-time help we have around here, there's a lot of archery knowledge in this place.
Right.
So we put together a video that should be going out later on today about building my bow, which was, we talked about it on Wednesday with Travis Manson in here. This is a brand new carbon RX3, the Redworks from Hoyt. I have mine kind of oranged out. I'm waiting on some orange other accessories, but
yeah,
there's
that
a
was
video.
just for us. Yeah. Only we heard that.
Heard my voice in there. Okay. But anyways, so what I want to kind of talk about is how, as a customer, when you come into the doors, what to expect, like we talked about earlier. So you're going to come in the door and you're going to say, I'm here to look at a bow or a crossbow. And you're going to be greeted by, more likely, Eggert, because he's mostly in that room. Funny I say that. He's off today. But, the steps that we take are, first of all, if you're going to come in here and look to buy a bow or a crossbow, plan on spending no less than a half an hour.
Right.
Don't try to be rushed when you make these decisions, because with the bow lines we carry now, it's a hard decision.
It really is.
There's
a lot in there.
There's a lot of bows
so
in there, and you can attest to this. I mean, as a guy who's coming back into the archery world, there's a lot of things to consider.
Yeah, there definitely is. And I mean, the nice thing about our shop, though, is we have a really good mix of different, I would say, price points.
Yep.
So there's something for everybody.
Yep.
But one thing that I know that we really stand behind is, looking at those higher end bows, because of the fact that they are going to be a bow that's not only going to suit you right now, but is that going to be the same bow you're going to want to shoot 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road?
Yeah, and these bows get better every single year. It's amazing to me how they can keep advancing the technology. But the other thing, too, is you got to remember, you can buy a bow now and still have this thing be current 10 years later as far as, like, technology. The technology just gets tweaked year to year, but you're not going to be disappointed and want to buy another one the following year for the most part.
My favorite thing is, with how I got my Hoyt was yesterday. Mark was in the archery shop, and he made a comment about my Hoyt, and he said that's a nice Cadillac. And he says, we should have started you off on an old Bear Whitetail. And I looked at him, I'm just like, guess what? I have a Bear Whitetail. I have it at home.
Yeah.
I just am too afraid to pull it back.
So this is Zach's beauty. This right here. I got to bring it. It's so long. I got to bring it down. But this is the RX3, the Ultra. So compared to mine, his is 4 inches longer.
Yep. It is. Yep. So,
anyways,
at least we know where we stand.
Yeah, like I was so far.
I've got a longer bow. Your bow is a little shorter, but they can both put down a deer, right? They both work.
But it performs the same.
Yep.
Because Zach has a little longer arm. Damn, I'm lost now.
You can't do it. Anyways, it's a bow. It's really nice looking.
But you got yours kind of
long.
You got your. You got yours kind of blued out.
Yep.
And
I'm a blue guy. I like the color
guy,
blue, so
yeah.
I had a little bit of blue accents on there. I really like, though, that camouflage pattern.
Yeah, it's a sick Elevate, too.
Yeah, the Elevate. And what's really cool about that to me is it gives you like that nice mix, because in Wisconsin especially, like you don't know what kind of terrain you're always going to be hunting in.
Correct.
You could go out one week and you're in mud and, you know, the hardwoods mud, there's a lot of brown everywhere, and then a week later you're tromping through a foot of snow.
Yep.
And that camouflage works for both. I like that a lot.
Well, and just to plug it too, Sitka's on sale in the store right now.
Yeah, that's what, 20%
20% off, but that sale ends, I believe, like the 13th or the 15th. So it is what's
Definitely.
remaining Sitka. So if you want to match Zach's 4-inch longer bow than mine, you got to come in and now to take advantage of that sale. But anyways, God,
Moving on.
yeah, is Brian here?
He's got to keep us on the straight and narrow.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you give two children a podcast studio for a morning.
So the one question that I typically ask right off the bat, and it's not meant to offend anybody, it's what's your budget? You know, you hit on it. We have a high-end bow line, but we also carry a mid-grade and a kind of a lower-end bow line too. And we don't ask you that to kind of put you out. We ask you that because, dude, I'm not going to put a $1,700 Carbon RX3 in your hands. You know, I want you to shoot that bow, but I also don't. It's a tease then.
Right.
You know, you had referred to it as a Cadillac before.
Right. Well, let me just put it this way. You know, for me having a lot of sales background, I'm not even going to reference what I'm going to do.
I'm thirsty
All
right now.
We're talking car sales.
Yeah.
When I was
so
in
for
car
those who
sales,
don't remember, when Zach
apparently
mentions car sales,
once
we
upon
have
a
to take
time
a drink here,
it
wilderness
happened.
athlete. Go ahead.
So the thing was it's the same thing. It's just part of sales. Was, you know, when somebody asks you your budget, don't be offended, and unless they come across as like what they're trying to do. But like if you come into the store and you tell us that you're trying to spend less than $1,000, we're not just going to say here's $1,000 bow. We're then going to ask you what accessories do you have to transfer over, because we want to make sure that we maximize what you plan to spend and not try to make you spend more. But we're also going to educate you on the products as to why your $1,000 bow and an $1,100 bow might be a $100 difference, but why one might be better for you if you tell us reasons that it might be better.
That's right. Well, and that's no different than, you know, us joking around but being serious when we say if you don't want a new bow or crossbow, don't shoot a new bow or crossbow.
Right. It's just like if you drive a 1999 Honda Camry. Wow, I'm off my game today. Toyota Camry.
Yeah.
Whew.
Honda.
I'm losing my car card over here. So if you pull up in a 1999 Toyota Camry, right, and you go to a car dealership and you drive a 2019 Camry, you're going to want to buy one. It's no different when you shoot a bow. It's no different when you go to look at a boat for all the bass guys. It's no different than anything.
Yep.
So, you know, you might be setting yourself up for failure if you came in and say...
Well, you're setting yourself up to scratching your checkbook a little bit deeper.
Right.
You know, sell what you got to sell. But like Manson said, he's going to have to sell his duck decoys to get gas. But... Ryan, I'm going to answer your question. This RX3, I want to say is like 3.6, somewhere around in there. I think mine's like 3.4. Yours might be a hair heavier than mine.
Yeah. It has to do
I'm
with
done with this conversation.
The more length, the heavier it gets. I mean, that's just how it works.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Now, yeah, I would say that without any accessories on that bow is literally like you take your pinky under the rest. You just like there's nothing there.
It's very well balanced.
It's full carbon
shoots
fiber.
Very nice. Yeah,
full
I was talking to
fiber,
the Hoyt rep yesterday on the phone, and you know it does. It holds really well. But then again, you know, we're not just playing favoritism with that Hoyt brand. We have Matthews, Bowtech, Prime, Elite. I mean, if you can't find a bow at the real
and
shop
a lot of
right
those
now,
brands have carbon technology too that I'm aware of.
No, PSE is
maybe one?
really the only other one.
Really?
And we have PSEs in stock.
Okay,
as well.
PSE has the carbons.
Yeah.
I would assume that.
No, actually, I am a liar.
He's a liar.
The bow that my wife wants me to get for her, which she better start shooting a lot, would be the Iwasaki Bowtech.
Right. See, that's the one I was thinking about.
Yeah, this one, and then they did have a carbon,
Bowtech.
another carbon one as well. But this is the Iwasaki bow. This is a phenomenal ladies bow.
Yep.
So that just kind of reiterates again that not only do we have bows all different price ranges, but we have women's bows in here as well. We have like the Matthews Avail. We have some Mission lines.
Right.
We have the Bowtech lines. We have some
we've
Hoyt
got a
lines.
solid we've got a solid selection of women and children's bows.
Yes.
Compared to other
well,
stores,
and that's
which is
where
pretty
I
sweet.
feel like we could toot our horn a lot because like this cruiser over here, by far is our number one selling introductory youth style bow.
Right.
And this, I'm a monster fan of this bow because this thing
Well,
is.
it looks cool, and the camouflage patterns that they have, especially if it's for kids.
Yep.
Like, they look so cool. If you want your kids into archery and you need like a kicker for it, just show them how cool that bow looks, and they're going to want to shoot it.
Yeah.
Easy as that. And they come in different colors. Like, they have a blue camouflage that I thought that was super slick.
Well, with your styling on your bow, you'd like that. But
Definitely.
they also, this bow is not only does it look phenomenal, but it's a performer as well. So, like, I guess while we're talking about this topic, so when you come in to pick out a bow, I'll move this out of my face, even though people don't really care to look at it. But when you're coming in, so we're gonna ask you your budget first and foremost, right? And that's just gonna help direct us in the way.
Yeah.
And then we also carry used bows and crossbows as well, so we can help. Again, if you can't find a bow here at the Real Shot, we're not doing our job, or you're just not looking hard enough. Is what it basically comes down to.
Yep.
But then the next thing I always ask is, do you know your draw length?
Yep.
Okay. And again, you think about it, that's just our job, but it's also the consumer, the customer's job. You should know your draw length, and you should know your draw weight. Other specifics beyond that, we can figure that out really quick. But the funniest thing to me is when a customer comes in, and again, this is just, it's an informative show today, but it's like when they're my size or smaller, and I say, what's your draw length? Oh, geez, I think it's like 31 inches. I'm like, it can't be.
You're 5'7".
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
But
like,
I think,
I'm like a 30 and a half.
In saying that, yes, and you're what, 6'2"?
I'm 6'3", almost.
6'3".
Borderline.
Well, and I think where that misconception comes from is people think of their arrow length.
Right.
In the the older days, they used to leave an inch or 2 inches beyond the front of the riser when they trim the arrows, or not even cut them at all. So then your arrows are going to be closer to 30 inches.
Right.
But if you're my size, I'm technically a 28.5-inch draw.
Right.
But I shoot a 29-inch just because it feels a little more comfortable for me. So if you are in the process of finding a bow and you want to know your draw length, it's really simple. You take your wingspan and you divide it by 2.5. That's going to get you in the ballpark. For me, as a technician, that gets me within a half inch to an inch. And then at that point, what we do then is we start you at what you should be, so whatever that is, so let's say you're 28.5. We'll start you at a bow that's 28.5, and then we'll custom fit it from there.
Right.
A lot of the nice things about these bows is they're sliding module adjustment, so they can be adjusted on the fly, or they have a mod you pop in and out. Not a lot of bows nowadays are cam specific, which is, it takes a long time.
Right.
Like this Matthews Verdicts over here, you literally take 2 screws out, put a different mod in. The fact that you're yawning right now, it makes me think that I'm boring.
Nope, you're not boring at all,
Okay.
actually. It's just me. I don't know what it is about yawning right now, but I am yawning like every 5 seconds.
See, that's how I feel when we talk fishing.
I don't know. I feel like, we got the door closed in here. There's not enough oxygen in here, so I'm just...
Yeah, there's not much oxygen that goes to your brain all the time. So
Yeah,
I'm
it
guilty
shows.
of that. So, so to measure your draw length, it's wingspan divided by 2.5.
That's one of the first times I've actually heard of having to use division outside of high school. Just saying.
Yeah,
Throwing that out there.
Luckily, we got a calculator usually around.
I wouldn't know how to do
cell
2.5.
How to do all that kind of stuff. So
break her down.
So then we after that process, then we just have you shoot a plethora of bows in your price range, above your price range, all that kind of stuff. And we do that because I can't tell you what bow you want to buy. It's that simple. You could tell me till you're blue in the face that the bow you're leaving with here, and this goes back to a customer, is a Matthews Triax.
Right.
And then you end up buying a Bowtech. You made that decision. I didn't do it. All I did was have you shoot these bows, and I explained.
It's just being educated.
It is. And the whole time you're shooting these bows, we explain the differences, and we explain things that you should pay attention to, and then that makes your decision a lot easier, and it also makes it a lot tougher. Because literally, I had a guy, I worked with him for 2 days. He told me flat out, I'm buying a bow or a Matthews.
Right.
And he did. He bought a Bowtech Realm from me, and he said this bow, just after you educated me, it was the performing bow. So that's what we're gonna have you do. That's why this process can take literally up to an hour. It could literally take multiple
longer
days.
Than that.
Because by the time you leave here, first of all, your shoulders may be a little bit sore if you're out of shooting shape.
Right.
And then you still I used to challenge customers and say, I guarantee you'll be
Right.
back to buy a bow here, and that's before we even had the high end lines we have now. And most of them, I don't know a percentage, most of them would come back just because they felt when they left here they were highly educated.
Right.
And even though it may not have been the bow they wanted, they had to go someplace else for the bow they really wanted. They ended up shooting the bow we had because they just had a good feeling when they left here.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean that's the thing. It's basically a test drive, you know.
Right.
That's all it is. And you know, you're gonna have your idea of what you want, and you might be brand particular.
Yep.
The thing with 2019 is that there's a lot of companies making a lot of advancements.
Nobody makes a bad bow and arrow right now.
Right. And I mean, like, there's just, you can't really go wrong. I mean, and if you're spending your money, just educate yourself, because if
Yep.
you're going to be dropping, especially nowadays, $1,200-$1,300 on a bow setup, if not more,
Right.
make sure you're spending that money right.
Yep.
And we're not here. We're really, at the end of the day, I mean, obviously we're here to sell bows, make money, but we're here to sell you what you want,
Right.
not what we want. That's not our goal.
Well, and just to kind of the crossbow area is not that different than what I'm talking about with the vertical bow area. I just don't
Right.
have to know your draw length. I have to, there's certain things that, like, do you have shoulder issues? Why is that important? Because, like, some bows, I had, like, the Raven or, like, the Mission. I thought I had a Wicked Ridge or a 10-point. They have a crank assistance.
Yep.
Or some, like the Excalibur, you can get a crank for it, but they also just have the rope cocking aid, which is faster and quieter. And then, that's just kind of – so the crossbow thing is no different in a way, and we'll
Right.
talk about that more on multiple shows. We'll get Druick back in here, and, he'll inform everybody on the proper ways. But,
Right.
like, you're going to spend at least a half an hour, 45 minutes with any bow purchase, whether it's a longbow or a crossbow. And then that was one thing I forgot to speak about, kind of on the crossbow topic shortly, is Mark handed me a email yesterday saying that for the 2019 seasons, crossbows are safe for another year. So that means that you don't have to worry about your crossbow season being shorted, or when can you use it, when you cannot use it.
Right.
At this point, they're not doing anything. They said they will begin in August 2019 for possible consideration of changing the 2020 season.
See, I want to know what the whole thought process is going into making these changes. I just want to know what if I'm putting a deer down with a bow and I'm putting a deer down with a crossbow, they're both getting hit. Obviously, it's a bolt versus an arrow, but they're both getting hit with the same shaped object, the same amount of distance, kind of the same power. I mean, some crossbows are getting pretty up there now, but for the average guy, I mean, you're still shooting pretty much the same FPS as a bow.
Yep.
What's the difference? Why do they have to mess with it? Just either give us a yes, give us a no. Leave it.
Yeah,
Be
that's all.
done.
We'll leave
That's
that for-
above our pay grade and our governmental status,
It's
but
a good-
still.
it's a good question, though.
But I get the difference between gun, because I mean, gun, you take a rifle, you can put something down at 200-300 yards,
Right.
done.
Right.
But yeah, whatever.
Yeah, that's yep.
Whatever. It's safe for another year.
Save those questions for when we do a crossbow show. I mean, they're valid questions.
They are. They
but
really
as far
are.
as everybody needs to know right now, the 2019 crossbow season is still good to go. So
Right.
If again you're hesitant about buying a crossbow because they may make changes on you, you're safe to go. So get in here and buy a Raven, buy a Mission, buy a 10-point, anything like that. So, all right. So we covered a lot of things here. So we have a bow, let's say, picked out.
Yep.
Now we have to pick out the wide world of accessories that we carry here.
Right.
And the pros and the cons of all of them. Now, I'm not going to get into this stuff hardcore just because I could talk for hours until
Well, what we do. Let's just talk about what we chose for our bows and talk about why. And just say, because you know what, this is going to be something that for everybody's going to be such a different.
Yep.
It's such a different topic that everybody has their preferences. Everybody has a way they want their bow to feel. Everybody has their looks that they want to attain.
Yes. So in saying that, okay, you picked your bow out, and whatever price you picked your bow out, you know that it's like a good pair of shoes, and that one feels most comfortable for you. The reason we want you to shoot multiple bows, numerous times, is because I don't want you leaving here in 2-3 weeks later, coming back in here, man, it just wasn't the bow. I should have did a little more work. That's why. You need to be educated first and foremost, and you need to test fire bows. Don't just buy a bow on an impulse just because you see it's a good deal. And if you are buying a used bow, go ahead and bring that bow in here or come in and ask us about it. We'll give you the best. The thing that makes me nervous about buying anything used is there's just no warranty with it.
Right.
No, not too many companies nowadays do any kind of transferable warranty, whether that's fishing or it's hunting equipment or any kind of equipment.
Right.
So let's say it's a $200 used bow, but for $400 you can get a fully set up Bear Cruiser or a Mission, whatever. It's,
Right.
It's worth the extra money for the warranty.
It definitely is, because at the end of the day, you don't normally know exactly, unless it was like a 1 or 2 year bow, model.
Yep.
You don't ever know the exact age. You don't know if it's been dry fired, who's been firing it, if it's been dropped from a tree stand. You don't know like what's been gone with it.
Well, and how did you educate people like that in your world of car sales? I mean, you probably had to feel the same way about that kind of stuff.
And it was the hardest was because of the fact that the only thing that you have as tangible evidence of the history of a car is, your Carfax reports and your auto checks, which you really have to, that doesn't really tell you much besides if there's an accident or not.
Right.
And, regular maintenance. But it's one of those things that you just don't know, which is like for me why in cars, if you're listening and you're looking for a car, I always recommend if you're buying used, buy from the dealership that sells that brand of product.
So if you're buying a Chevy,
buy
to
it from a Chevy dealership. Because that'll give you a little bit more certifications and a little bit more pleasings or whatever that comes back into the bow world, which is we sell all of these brands.
Yep.
We have techs for all of these brands that can go through everything and make sure everything's safe and adjusted properly.
Right.
So that when we sell a used bow out of here, we know what we're looking at.
Well, and the other thing about the used world is parts may not be accessible anymore.
Right.
You think you're getting a steal of a deal, but you find out that in the archery world, anything beyond 5 to 10 years is pretty much obsolete.
Right.
Parts are probably available online, but there's not. I mean, they can't warehouse. It's when people come in here and they look for strings.
Right.
Are you telling me you don't have these strings made up? No. Do you know how many string specs, how many different stylings of strings there are? Mike in the
hundreds of thousands.
Fixed Customs room, his database is monstrous. But for example, not to bash Hoyt, but Hoyt changes cams. They don't change the name of the bow, but they might change cams on different models of bows. So just because the belly sticker on your bow says your string should be this long, if you updated the cams on that model of bow, your string specs don't always match that. So do you sell used that are brands? We do. We sell all kinds of used bows.
Yeah, we sell quite a few, but at the same time, we also have so many brands in here new that it's really few and far between that we
It
find.
would be hard to find. Well, like one that comes in my mind would be like Obsession.
Right.
We sell used Obsessions. We just posted one on Facebook the other day. But now that's the problem is I can't get parts for an Obsession bow.
Right.
If we're not a dealer for that, I can't get modules, can't get cams, limbs, anything like that. Maybe sometimes the companies will reach out just because we're a reputable shop, but we can build strings for it.
Right.
Mike can build strings for that fixed bow, and we do that kind of stuff all the time. So parts for some used bows are a little harder.
Right.
But then again, like you said, we have plenty of bows in here. So
Definitely.
I was going on the so you have a bow picked out.
Accessories.
Now we got to pick out accessories.
Yep.
So there's a lot of accessories, but they're basically the same. They all kind of repeat each other in different fashions and all that kind of stuff. So as Zach, again, with the car world, you can always attest to this. It's like the next thing that I say besides the bow, the money you don't skimp on is your rest.
Yep.
You can there's many different options of rest. There's mostly a drop away is probably the Cadillac.
Yep.
Or, the fancy tires.
Yep.
And there's different forms of drop away rest. And then the next one would be like a full capture, like a whisker biscuit.
Yeah, and I mean that's exactly it. When it comes to the rest is the last thing that touches your arrow before the arrow leaves the bow.
So
you need to make sure that's
just to answer. So elaborate on that. So buying a $1,700 RX3 Ultra and putting a whisker biscuit on it just doesn't make sense.
That would make zero sense.
Now you can do it. I'm not saying you can't do it, but it just doesn't make sense.
Anything is possible.
You're buying a bow to perform.
Right.
And now you're putting and again, I'm not trying to bash a whisker biscuit. It's fully functional.
Yeah.
It does what it's supposed to do, and it can be very accurate.
Right. But the efficiency. I mean, it's the same thing. So think about this: if you go to the tire store, right? You go to you have.
So I was hoping you were gonna go with it.
So you just bought yourself a 2018 V6 Mustang, right? You think you're cool, but you need tires,
Sounds fast.
right? So then you go there, and are you gonna look at the $50 Optimos that like people run on their $500 beaters?
2002 Corollas?
They're 2002 black Corolla.
Is that a burn? Is that a burn?
But no, or it would be the same as the tires I would put on my little Corolla too. Or would you take that Mustang and would you want to put on really nice Pirellis? Those Pirelli tires are going to give you more contact to the road. They're going to give you more grip, and it's going to be able to put the power down a little bit more efficiently.
Yep.
Now, if you put a rest on your bow, it's the last thing that touches your arrow. It's not an accurate rest, so maybe it's not dropping at the perfect time because it's cheaper, and maybe there's a little bit less quality control.
Yep.
You're just running the risk that when you get out in the woods, you might have that where you have a 30-40 yard shot, and that little bit of off that it is that day now just ruined your shot. Or you just gut shot a deer and now you have to track it and put it down.
Yep.
And
and as far as now tuning wise too, you can tune a whisker biscuit to shoot a pretty darn good bullet hole through paper.
Right.
But it's a lot easier with these rests to have micro adjust and all that kind of stuff on them. So what Zach ended up going with on his Hoyt is the Hoyt version of the QAD. And most rest companies are going to manufacture. I don't know what way I got to turn that so you can see that. They're going to
closer to you.
Bring me this way.
Yeah.
Okay. They're going to manufacture a rest that is designed for the riser of the bow.
Yep.
So not all risers are the same for the most part. Now a universal regular QAD would fit this bow just fine.
Yep.
But Hoyts have a shallower shelf area here. It's a little different design. So QAD partnered with Hoyt, just like they partnered with Matthews and Bowtech and all these other ones, to design bows that just fasten to the riser a lot easier and then have the correct amount of adjustment left to right, up, down.
Right.
For where they position that kind of stuff. So
yeah, this
is a cable-driven, again, tell me which way I need to turn this thing. This is a cable-driven drop-away rest. So what that means is it's when this bow comes to full draw, this cord that, if you can see it, gets pulled on and activates the rest. There's two tuning marks on the either side here that tune, and then the rest drops out of the way.
Yep.
So it's a full capture. So when I have an arrow on here, I can tip this rest, I can stalk, I can have it hanging on my tree stand, and the arrow cannot come off until I activate the rest.
Yep.
So QAD is probably the most popular drop away that we sell here at the Real Shot, but we're starting to sell a lot more, and which I'm a big fan of, which is the limb-driven style rest.
Right.
So there's a couple different limb-driven styles, just like there's drop away rest on the market. This is a Hamskia, whatever you want to call it. This is a limb-driven drop away rest. So this has a full capture shield on it.
Right.
But it is not. The biggest difference is on a cable-driven QAD, the launcher arms are locked in place and then drop, where most of these, the launcher arm is down, comes up at full draw, and then it drops on the way on the shot. So how these get tied into is most of these get tied into either the top or the bottom limb. And I like this because I can physically see if I have any error or if my rest is out of place. It's a little bit easier to adjust. And the thing that I always think about is strings and cables are built with a lot of stretch taken out of them.
Right.
But they can still stretch over time. So my rest is not going to be as faulty when it's tied directly to the limb, because unless the limb cracks or it gets breaks, it never fails. The limb is consistent, and it's meant to be consistent every single time. So I'm a fan of the limb-driven rest, but again, that's kind of the differences. So when you come in to decide on that, you're going to get asked these kind of questions. Now, the only bad part about a limb-driven is we mentioned it's not 100% full capture like the QAD, so my arrow has a lot bigger room to move around.
Right.
And it can potentially make a little bit more noise. Or like I had to do, I think we shared that doe video I took. Sometimes you have to wrap your finger around the front of the arrow so it doesn't move around as much when you're stalking or something like that. So those are kind of your options. And then like on most of your beginner style bows. Let me know if there's any questions or anything like that popping up.
Yep.
I can just rant and rave on this all day. Most are going to come with the whisker biscuit.
Right.
And so this is a Trophy Ridge whisker biscuit. It's just a regular, I think it's a regular kill shot. They have different biscuit sizes, which is really nice. You know, so when these high tinsel brushes wore out, you can just replace it just by cutting the old one out, putting a new one in. But this is the thing about it, again, is if you're going to spend money on a rest, spend some good money, because like this one, I only have left-right adjustments.
Right.
I cannot make any up-down adjustments. It all has to happen on here on the knock end. So I always recommend. So I think this one retails in at $39.99. Just spend the extra $20 and go with the one up.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's some nice rests.
Yeah, there's some QAD or there's some whisker biscuits that have micro adjust in them.
Right.
Again, I mean, it just gotta. The functionality all works the same.
Right.
It just you have to decide what's going to be best for you.
Right.
And on a high-end bow, a drop away is probably the way most people are going to go, but it doesn't mean that you can't shoot a whisker biscuit style rest like
Definitely.
that. How am I doing, Zach?
You are doing fantastic.
I need to take a breather here.
Take a breather.
I'm so excited.
So excited for your new bow.
So excited for all the bows that are going on here. So, okay, so we got a rest picked out.
Yep. So you got the rest, and now I would say shooting it first and deciding.
Yep.
First
so
of all, how does it feel?
So we'll set the draw length.
Yep.
We'll make sure the draw length is set. We'll decide if you're a kisser button person or not a kisser button person. The peep sight, all that kind of stuff happens after we start accessorizing the bow. So we got a rest picked out. Now we're moving into the sight world. So the sight world is one we get all the time. And the sight world is the single pin versus the fixed pin.
And I had this debacle all day yesterday, so I can
tobacco. You had tobacco?
Yeah, tobacco. The debacle.
Tobacco world.
The tobacco world. No, the debacle all day yesterday. That I didn't know what I wanted for a sight. And finally, I just bit the bullet on the Black Gold Rush.
Yeah, you went with a fixed multiple pin sight. So you went with, I believe, a 3-pin.
Yep.
And the black gold stuff is super popular. It's really nice. It's solid built. We also carry Spot Hog. We carry the Fuse line of sights. So
IQ Trophy Ridge.
IQ Trophy Ridge. Yeah,
we got a bunch.
There's a bunch of so if you're picking out, let's say, well, first of all, what's the difference between a fixed pin and a single pin? Well, the single pin is more of the adjustable pin.
Right.
So what that means is, again, you have to physically slide the sight. This is another black gold over here. This is the Ascent, I believe. You have to slide the sight to the distance of the shot that you want to shoot. So simplicity-wise, there's a lot less confusion with this because you don't have to decide, is it my 20-pin, my 30-pin? Now, on the flip side of that, that's where the headache could kind of come in place. So I have to dial it to the range I want to shoot.
Right.
So this is, for me personally, I've tried a single pin. I will never go back to a single pin because I still, even though it wasn't the single pin's fault, I missed the biggest buck of my life shooting a single pin sight.
Right.
And it wasn't, I'm just going to blame it on that because that's the way it works in the archery world.
Yep.
But, so you have to decide that.
Right.
Okay, so again, I'm going to tell you the benefits of the single versus the multiple pin.
Yep.
And then you have to help just make that decision on your own.
Yep.
Now, HHA is another one of those single pin sites. They also make a multiple pin site. They probably have one of the best fiber optics on the market.
Yep.
Plus, HHA is a Wisconsin brand. And I forgot to mention, HHA makes a real good drop-away cable-driven rest as well.
Right.
So what I did is I took the best of both worlds, and I have a 3-pin adjustable sight. So this is a thing that's got popular in the last couple of years, and the benefits of it are, in my opinion, they outweigh having to choose between the two.
Right.
Is it a lot overkill for a regular Wisconsin whitetail hunter? Most definitely. But for practice-wise, it helps me, and the off chance that I get to go out west, I have that option. So what I do is I have mine dialed 20, 30, 40 as my fixed.
Right.
And then I have markers or reference points on there where I use my bottom pin, and then I can dial it to distances beyond 40 yards.
Nice.
So I have mine on a dovetail. There's, the dovetail and the bracketing on the sight is what I'm referencing right now. So my sight can be with a lock screw right here. I can move my sight in and out. Where the benefits really come about from that are fine-tuning. If you have issues with seeing, some kind of pin acquisition closer and further away is better or worse. And if I'm going on a trip, I can also take this out to remove my sight, pack it differently so I don't have to worry about my sight being ajarred. Now, if you do that, you have to make sure you get it right into the same hole every single time.
Right.
So that's what I did. Again, I have a black gold on here. We sell oodles and oodles of sights just like we sell oodles and oodles of rests. But that's where you have to decide. The reason that a fixed pin or a multiple pin for me just doesn't work is because I don't want that deer at 5, 10, 15, 20 yards. And now he spooks, turns, runs, and now he's at 30, 40. And the only way I'm going to be able to get that shot off is have to compensate by holding the pin up or down.
Right.
And let's say I don't have time, I would have to let down a draw. Yep. Now, there's the other ones we didn't even get into are like the new range finding sites, like the Garmin's and some of the other ones, the IQs and all that kind of stuff. That's a better world. But then as we're shooting just a standard, pin sight, you have to let down on a single pin, redial, range, so on and so forth, unless you know that distance, and then reset that pin. So unless you're going to come in and buy a Garmin Zero and just eradicate all these, possibilities that I'm mentioning, that's the differences. And so if most of us hunt Wisconsin, we hunt tree stands, we know the distance to that food plot corner or that tree, that birch tree. So for me, with a fixed pin, it's just, okay, now that deer was at 20. Now he's standing over by that pine tree. I know I range that pine tree's at 42 yards.
Right.
So on and so forth. But for a beginning archer, the simplicity of the single pin is probably the way to go.
Right.
And what you could do with a multiple sight pin or a multiple pin sight is you can remove pins and just add them as they gain, draw weight to get their pin to shoot a little bit further distances. So,
right.
So that's kind of breaking down the sight world. Now you can go like you see on Jess's bow. You got the dovetail advantage. You can go with this standard, bracketing style and all that kind of stuff. But that would be the next question that I feel as a bow technician we get the most. And that's, again, one of the ones that, Eggert shoots a single pin. He has a different opinion than what I do.
Right.
And it's all
about comfortability.
It really is.
It's literally the shooting world, no matter if you're shooting guns or bows and crossbows, is 100% comfortability to the shooter.
Yep.
Because what I care about, if you're the guy with the bow, what I care about has nothing to do with what you care about when you're shooting your bow.
Well, and the thing about it, too, is you're going to see most target shooters, they're shooting a single pin.
Right.
Because they have time to range.
Yep.
And they don't need the confusion. And then most target shooters are going to have a single pin where realistically a whitetail hunter with a little bit of practice could come in or they could set their single pin for, let's say, 30 yards and probably be accurate out to 40.
Right.
Just by a little bit of difference in practice. These bows nowadays, one pin usually is pretty good almost out to 30 yards anyway. So you really don't need to make a whole lot of adjustment.
Right.
But for me, I don't want to have to guess at all.
See, I come from, the gun world, and for, rifle scopes. I mean, rifle scopes, you sight it in for yards, and then you're able to, take it down on those notches on your scope and be able to adjust to that. And that's why I picked a multiple pin sight instead of a single pin. Even though I'm a novice shooter, I wanted to have that flexibility to say, you know what, I'm going to learn what that distance is going to be because I don't want to have to mess around in the woods.
And, the argument you can say, which, I also agree with, is I don't think there's too many times where I've shot a deer and I haven't had the chance to range the area.
Right.
To know that distance. Like the last doe of the year I shot this year, I had time to range, plus I had just straight boredom, taking the opportunity to range different areas. So I knew that when she hit that opening in front of me, she was going to be right around 26 yards.
Right.
So you have those opportunities, you have that thing, and by setting and practicing with this pin set about 30 yards, you're going to be able to accomplish the same things a fixed pin shooter would do.
Right.
But again, it's just the world you want to be in. Now, like the other thing too with a sight that helps me out especially is I have a pin size differences. So I start at the top. Mm-hmm. I have a 2.9. And then I have a 1.9, and then I have a 1.0. So the 1.0 is the smallest size, obviously. And I have that as my furthest pin. So then when I'm picking up small objects, developed black dots, anything like that during the practice time.
Right.
I developed a little bit of target panic because my pin was too big and I couldn't see that area. So then I would have to, as soon as I saw my pin was on that black spot, I had to rush it and slam the trigger.
Right.
But I noticed by going to a smaller pin, I don't have that issue as much. Plus, the further away the target is, obviously the smaller it is. So you want a small pin to help you aim a lot better with that kind of stuff. So, dude, we're talking. We've been on the air now 55 minutes.
55 minutes.
Straight talking about bow and arrow stuff. And again, this is not the most exciting show we're ever going to do. But it's just the reason I wanted to do this one today is because we are getting a lot of people coming in buying bows right now.
It's tax time.
It's tax time.
People are, okay, I want to back up and go a little off topic. Like
Yeah, go for it, dude.
Man, I saw a commercial last night that has literally just driven me to just lose faith in humanity, right? Your tax return shouldn't just be another thing to spend, right?
Yep.
That shouldn't be your main goal is, hey, look at all this surplus of money. I need to spend it right now.
Right.
And there was literally multiple commercials on Hulu last night. I forgot what they were for. And they were all like, we're going to help you spend your tax return. We know you want to spend your tax return, so you should spend it on this. I'm like, that's really bad advice, guys. Like, I'm guilty of it. I never save my tax return.
Yeah.
But, like, you think about the logic of where that has gone. It used to be, like, the saving grace to help get you out of debt. Or
feed the pig.
Yeah, exactly. And now it's just, what kind of how big of a TV can I buy with my tax return?
Right.
Ugh.
Right.
Money.
Yeah. We're not saying spend your whole tax return on a bow.
Buy your wife something or your husband something.
Yeah. Well, and that's also a good point is we do layaways.
Yes, we do.
So if you want something and you just don't have the funds right now,
definitely
put it on layaway.
Put it on layaway. That's actually a really cool program because, the last time I've heard of a layaway program for larger purchases that I've seen is like clothing stores allow you to put things on layaway and come back and pick it up. And the fact that we can do that for you to get the bow that you want and actually secure your bow, have everything for you, that's a cool program all on its own.
Well, just anything in store. I mean, it's
right.
Ice fishing. We have some phenomenal deals right now on ice fishing stuff to kind of backtrack.
Well, think about it. A lot of people get a Christmas bonus. You need all this ice fishing gear. You're going out in January, and you know that trip is coming up. Throw it all on layaway so that you secure your load.
Secure. And the thing about it too is you're going to get it on the sale price that we have right now. Plus, there's probably only one or two in stock.
Right.
So you're going to have to just grab it while you can because the sale prices are the way they are just because we're trying to clear it out.
Right.
We don't want to have to store it over the the off season. So anyways, we do a layaway.
Yep.
And that's also going to be nice because we're going to do layaway on the gun portion as well. So if you want something, put it in on layaway. Now you can't touch it just like most layaways until it's paid off. So like for example, a bow.
Yep.
You want to put a bow and all the accessories on layaway. That bow doesn't get set up until the bow is paid off.
Right.
So not to go on a layaway tangent, but there's options for you. So
education,
We don't want you to spend your whole tax return here. Just spend a portion of it.
Right. Now, things to consider when picking a bow for a woman versus a man. Any differences?
There's a lot of differences in
Lots
that.
of them.
That's a great question. There's a lot of differences in that, and partly is because the overall length and the overall weight is a huge thing to consider.
Right.
And draw weight, peak draw weights is another big thing. So, most ladies' bows, well, let's just pick up the Iwasaki right here.
Right.
We got this Iwasaki in here. So most ladies' bows are going to be axle to axle length a little bit shorter than most, let's just say, they're guys' bows.
Right.
Okay. So the reason is just because the ladies' form is a lot smaller than the guys' form. Now they're making a lot of for majority.
Right.
They're making a lot of guys' bows or just bows in general in that 28 to 30 inch axle to axle, but it just makes it a lot more maneuverable.
Right.
And it also makes it a lot easier to control when you shoot. The other thing too is the overall physical weight of these bows is a lot less when you're picking out a ladies or even a youth bow.
Right.
The Bear Cruiser is not the lightest youth bow that we carry.
Right.
But it's also, again, if you look at, let's just say the two bows side by side, this Bear Cruiser is geared more towards the youth or the beginning archer.
Right.
And then this is a high-end ladies bow. Look at the axle length is pretty much the same.
Right.
So that's some things to consider. Like I think the Matthews Avail is probably pretty close to this Iwasaki bow as far as length. And then the weight is another big thing, just because you don't want to be holding the boat anchor. Nobody buying a bow wants to hold a boat anchor, but especially the woman out there does not want to, or the youth.
Right.
You're picking this bow to shoot comfortably, and like I refer to that a lot when I get people that come in and they want to adjust their draw weight.
Right.
You know, I want to go up to, I'm at 30 pounds and I want to go up to 40. That's huge range for a beginning archer or any archer. You think if it's only 10 pounds, I can pick that up any day, but you're using muscles that you've never used before. So I say you ain't going to lose your man card by going up a little bit or just shooting the weight that's true to you. Now, there's a couple things you can do to figure that out. But if you can't shoot your bow successfully and accurately and the way you're supposed to, for 10 shots in a row, your draw weight's probably too high.
Right.
Back it down, work your way up the scale until you get to that peak weight, and you'll find a peak weight. If you have to do this motion, bring the bow down here, if you have to struggle to get the bow back at full draw, it's too much weight.
Right.
Back it down. So back to the introductory style stuff or the lady style stuff is like the Bear Cruiser. We talked about draw weight adjustability. A high-end bow is going to have a peak weight, and it's going to be a lot less of a scale.
Right.
So, like with the Bear Cruiser or even this Diamond over here, like I said, it's like supermodels. Everywhere I turn, I got awesome bows. Or like the Diamond. Well, we talked about the Cruiser quite a bit. We'll talk about the Diamond.
Right.
So this is a Diamond. So this one's going to be the Edge, and this is more of the adult style where they have the Infinite Edge, which is the youth model. But like both of these bows, the Cruiser as well, the Missions as well, have a huge weight scale.
Right.
So this one I think can go anywhere from like 10 pounds all the way up to 70 pounds, and most of them go from like 13 to 31, 30 inches of draw length adjustment. So you're buying this bow knowing that this is the last bow that you possibly ever have to buy.
Right.
This is a phenomenal bow for not only kids, women, but it's also a great bow for somebody rehabbing and getting back into archery.
Right.
So you can shoot this bow and have great performance at 40 pounds, and then if you want to have excellent performance and you got your shoulders back or you're ready to go or a beginner and you worked your way up, you can shoot this bow at 70 pounds. So most adult men will not outgrow this bow.
Right.
And the cool thing about it is, let's say you buy it for a kid. Now, kids, we all know, have a short attention span. So they think archery's cool today, and then there's a butterfly flying around a half an hour later, and now that's the coolest thing in the world. They want to raise butterflies. Is mom and dad sink a couple $100 into a bow. You know, if we know this bow that fits them, as long as that shooter is left or right-handed, exactly what matches your kid, you're going to be able to sell that bow closer to what you've spent in it and get majority of your money back.
I just want to let you know that analogy is absolutely facts, because from the age of like 10 to like 13, I definitely raised butterflies instead of hunting. Now, am I joking or am I not? Let's find out.
Go to his Facebook
That's for me to
page.
know. That's for me to know.
You probably had a
find out.
Facebook page at 11 years old anyway.
I didn't. I had my first Facebook page, I think, when I was 13, and it was the cringiest thing I think I could have ever done as a teenager. It's awful. It was bad.
Did you see what this Momo challenge?
I haven't, and I have literally no.
I looked
care
it
to
up
even
yesterday
try.
because my sister posted something on Facebook. I know this is way off topic.
Who cares?
But we're talking Facebook. My sister said my niece, I think she's 4 now, has been losing sleep because of this Momo challenge.
Man, I don't know. There's some stuff out there that parents are letting their kids watch, like whether or not they're letting them or if they're just watching kids' YouTube videos, and then they go down the rabbit hole that everyone goes down in the right sidebar. You just keep clicking, and suddenly you don't know where
all of
you're
a sudden,
at.
yeah, there's a spooky face. But I mean, first of all, who's sick enough to do this kind of stuff? And I guess it has like some major results. Like there's kids, it's like that Slender Man type stuff.
Slender Man. I remember when Slender Man, that thing first came around. Okay, so Slender Man, I'm glad that you brought that up with this topic, because that game.
We're talking bows, and I'm glad we brought up Slender Man.
Glad you brought up Slender Man. That was in the itinerary. Man, I remember the Slender Man game when that first came out, and that was like a thing that kids were playing and like trying not to get scared over. Dude, I'm sitting here at like 17 at 4 in the morning with my lights off trying to play Slender Man, and I am getting freaked out by that game, man. So for a child to do that, oof, I don't know. That's not good.
Right.
I don't know what's going on in today's world, but it's not good.
No,
not good.
Yeah, like we were coming home last night from we had parent teachers conferences, and so we're talking about it because the kids had brought it up, and we're like, guys, if you see something that just doesn't look right come across your computer screen, you have the option to X that screen out
Right.
and just stop watching it.
Right.
It's no different than like the social media bullying.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into it too far, but you
Right.
can unfriend that person. You can do whatever you have to do, block them.
I think that was my favorite thing, and I will preface this statement with the fact that bullying in America, I think, is in a weird spot because it's not just for funsies anymore.
Right.
People are actually being really awful
yeah,
to
they're
kids.
exactly. And
But-
I'm not saying bullying is
But at the same
Okay.
time, if you're being cyberbullied, do you know that there's a separation between real life and your phone?
Right.
Right. But anyways, that's a
whole different story.
whole other story.
So
but
we're getting some good questions here from the females in the world, and we appreciate that. That's why I wanted to cover this. So if Megan, if you're listening, obviously still, I'm trying to explain this, but let me know if there's any points that you want me to hit on a little bit more. So she says, when choosing a bow for a woman, is there any differences we should be aware of? So we
Which is
covered
what we-
overall weight.
Yep.
We covered length.
Yep.
And then we covered draw weight, and then draw length adjustability. So again, like if we're looking at this Iwasaki bow, a higher end bow is going to have areas where it's going to perform better, closest to the max of what that bow can do. So let's say this is a 50-pound bow, but this bow is adjustable, I believe, down beyond that 40-pound range. So any bow you can get, it's going to be higher performing or higher spec at its closest to the peak weight.
Right.
And so like your peak draw length as well. So that's where you have to, the hard thing is to know what your draw weight is before you come into an archery shop, and it will help you decide that, and usually for the women, if they're inexperienced, we're probably going to start you out at that lower caliper. Have you test fire a couple bows, and again, we're not trying to offend anybody. It's just because we want you to enjoy your experience of looking at and possibly purchasing a bow. But then, I've had plenty of women that I've worked with that they've experienced shooter, and they're pulling more weight than some men are out there, and that's awesome. So the reason we want to find out where your peak weight is to get you in a bow that's going to be perfect for you.
Right.
So if you're a woman coming into archery and you're looking to, get started, I'm probably going to point you in a direction of something, first of all, that's not really costly,
Right.
which Brian would probably disagree with in a way, but not really. But I also want the flexibility wise.
Right.
Okay, so let's say the draw length is usually pretty standard, but then the draw weight can go up and up and up. And now that that we started you at, let's say, 30 pounds, and now you're pulling 55 pounds, now you can work your way into something like the Iwasaki bow that is going to perform better at a higher weight, and is close to his maximum performance at its peak spec anyways.
Right.
So you're also going to notice, like I was saying, so the draw length adjustments are a lot less on a woman's bow, for example, than they are on a man's bow. Most men's bows can go out beyond 29 inches, where most women's bows are going to stop around that 27-inch mark, but they're also going to drop a little bit lower than 24 inches as well.
Right.
Just because some women's frames are different than some guys.
Correct.
So those are kind of some things you want to pay attention to when you're looking for a youth bow and a woman's bow, but just buy something that you're going to enjoy and be able to use a lot longer. Now,
Right.
She did ask the question too, is how do you know when your strings need to be replaced? Well, just like in the world of crossbows, and this is more of a maintenance style thing. We can get into this when we do some service videos and all that kind of stuff. But usually a vertical bowstring and cables, depending on how well it's kept, by waxing it, not nicking it, not doing anything like that, should be replaced every 3 years on a mandatory. And why that happens, it kind of goes back to the rest information, is because they are stretching over time.
Yep.
The elements, hunting in extreme cold, hunting in extreme warmth, also how you store your bow, has effects on the string and cable. Now, these are all made with high-end material, and Mike in the fixed room can get into that more than what I even care to get into, but it's made with high-end material. They're stretched to weights that it could virtually pull a semi out of the road or the ditch, but they do still stretch over time. So what you have to do is you have to wax them on occasion, and that's even an argument. Some people don't even feel you have to wax your strings. But the more you shoot your bow, the sooner the string should be replaced.
Right.
So there's a lot of target shooters that put new bows or new strings and cables on their bows every year, and they'll also do it sometimes multiple times during the season.
Right.
You got to think about it. Some of those guys are shooting hundreds of arrows a day, let alone, for a typical archer, they're probably shooting maybe 500 arrows a year. These target arrows, guys are putting 100 arrows in, 500 arrows in by the end of the week.
Right.
So those strings are going to go through a lot faster than that. So to how you can identify, the thing about it is if you come in here and you're like, I think I need new strings and cables, I'm going to ask you, have you replaced them? No. Okay. How long have you had the bow? Well, it's original. Okay. So yeah, you need to replace them. And we're not just doing that to sell you strings and cables. And you could say, well, they look good, but dude, if we put it on the bow scale or we time it, you're probably not hitting your spec. It's like I always reference in your car world, it's like driving your car, putting 300,000 miles on it and not ever doing a tune-up to the spark plugs and all that kind of things.
Right.
Yeah, it may be running, but it ain't running at peak performance.
Right.
So there's maintenance that needs to get done with bows and crossbows. And crossbows are a lot less, like Mark said when we had him on, because those things are under like twice, 3 times the intensity that a bow is under. Most bows are going to peak weight at 70 pounds unless you custom order it. These crossbows are starting in at 150 plus pounds right off the bat. So if a bow is 3 years, a crossbow is 2 years or less.
Right.
So I think I answered that question.
Definitely.
But if you nick it, if you start to see a lot of frays coming through on it, if you're noticing that it's not shooting as well, a lot of shooters will come in and say my pin gaps, I have to constantly readjust my pins. That means your bow is probably out of tune. It's just not hitting your peak weights. It's not, you're losing efficiencies as the strings stretch. So that's when you need to get it in. And right now is a phenomenal time not only to buy a bow, but to get your bow in for maintenance as well. So that's kind of the summary. I can get into more accessory stuff, releases, arrows. I had some arrows in front of me. There's 3 different things to consider, or multiple different things with the arrows, but there's 3 different sizes. When I talk arrows with people, I apologize, but I think I really confuse a lot of people with arrows. Because an arrow is no different than anything in life. The more you spend on it, the better quality it's going to be, and that can't be more true than with arrows. You can definitely see a difference with arrows on arrow flight, and then, the tuning capabilities of it all. Broadhead flight is one of the biggest things. So, like here in my hand, I have 3 different arrows, and I have a standard size. This is a pile driver from Carbon Express. I have a small diameter. This is a FMJ, a full metal jacket from Easton. And then I have what I'm going to call a micro diameter. This is a VAP TKO from Victory. The physical size difference of these arrows, they're all inside diameter or ID is different. And then the weights are different. And then the arrow, what they're made of, is all different. Like the FMJ is probably one of the strongest arrows on the market at a reasonable price. It's an aluminum outside with a carbon core. So guys that love aluminum get the best of both worlds. You get your strength and you get your straightness. And then I like the VAPs. I like the small micro diameter stuff. Now you have a harder time finding it to fit in quivers, but it penetrates a lot better. Plus I add a little bit of weight to the front of it with their system here, and it it gives me a little FOC or front of center, all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of arrows or a lot of ways you can get into arrow information, but just to reference, the more you spend, the better quality you get. The straightness is one thing you want to pay attention to, and then your grain per inch is one thing you want to pay attention to. So most arrows are graded on their straightness. So some arrows have a 0.01, 0.03, 0.006. So the higher the number in the archery arrow world, the worse the arrow could potentially be. What that means is you're just not hand-tuned and hand-sorted and hand-picked as much. They're bulk manufactured like most arrows are, but then they roll them on a straightness scale, and then all of a sudden say, well, this one is not the most amazing straight arrow. So the easiest way you can think of it when you're picking out an arrow is the more you spend, the better quality. And which way is going to really show is when you shoot the arrow, when you tune the arrow. So a better quality arrow is not only going to fly a lot better, it's going to have less flex to it, which is also called the spine, or better flex, I guess if you want to phrase it that way too. But I always say, think about this. With an arrow doesn't have the peak straightness, you can get out of a 6-pack, you can get 5 arrows that group like nobody's business, and you get 1 arrow you just can't get to fly right. Now, the more you spend, technically, with a little bit of adjustment maybe, every single arrow you shoot is matched to be as close as the other partners and his brothers in the pack. So when you shoot those arrows, they should all group virtually the same.
Right.
That's the biggest difference on spending more money. Now, you can get a heavier arrow, which, we can really, I'm not even going to get into that, but like there's a trend, it's called, the front of center. It's not, the front of center is not a trend, but there's a shooting heavy weight up front, shooting overall heavy arrows, that helps make for a quieter bow. It slows it down, but it also just, your kinetic energy is through the roof. So there's a lot of different things, but find an arrow in that price range, just like you're going to find an arrow on the bow, you're going to find an arrow on the all that stuff on the rest of the bow. Find what fits your budget. Pick the best arrow you can that you can afford, and then as you shoot more and as you notice imperfections in a cheaper arrow, just upgrade, and then you're going to notice your groups, your performance. You're going to be a lot happier with how that arrow performs out of your bow, no matter what price you spend on it. So. Releases, quivers. We could keep going for hours and hours.
There's so much that you can get for your bow.
Is your brain melted a little bit?
A little bit. It feels like feels like a plastic plate that was left a little too close to the burner.
I think I took like 2 breaths that whole time.
I know. I was like, he's just not going to stop.
No,
let's just let him go.
Let's just let him go.
Good stuff.
But I hope people found it informative. We are going to wrap this one up and have a Friday here. But I hope it's informative. It's a lot. And again, it's the basic part of this show was just to inform people of why we ask the questions we ask.
Right. Yeah, it's just how can we help you?
It'd be no different than Tony up front talking to you in the fishing world.
Yep. What's
your purpose with the fishing rod? What line do you need? All that kind of stuff. And that's the part that I had to find out as a fair fisherman. That everything has a purpose in the world, and if it just makes you better in the long run. So.
Right.
So we covered a lot of hot topics here. Again, if anybody has any questions, they can go ahead and reach out to our Facebook Messenger.
Yep.
They can comment on the video.
Yep.
They can call the store, or more definitely just stop in.
Stop in
and BS with us for a while.
Yeah.
Drink a cup of coffee.
Imagine if this is how we spend our Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, how we would spend it with customers.
Right.
Same thing.
Right.
Very relaxed environment.
So now the fun part about this is when all the people come out and say, he's wrong. That was worse. I can't wait for that kind of stuff. I'm excited for that.
They're going to call you out.
Let's get the haters. They hate
like
us.
Haterade.
They hate us because they ain't us.
They hate us because they ain't us?
You ever seen that movie?
No, I know. That's why I was playing on the movie. What are you talking about?
They
hate us because they ain't us?
I love that movie. So, but remember, next week we got Carl, Caleb looking for something for Friday, but we got some feelers out there. I think next week's going to be next week's going to be a turkey week, I think.
Gobble, gobble.
Gobble, gobble.
Heck yeah, bud.
You got to beat these winter blues. So then, remember, Free Hat Friday, that post is going to come out here in the next 45 minutes. Go ahead and throw your numbers out there. Remember, today's date may have something to do with the number. So we got the TRS giveaways. I'm going to let Zach take over so I can have a drink so he can say car sales. And then we'll see everybody right here on Monday. Now, remember, Brian's out of shop, so I'm going to have to find some more guests in here.
Yeah, so if you're watching, you want to be a guest, come on. Let us know.
So we don't have the Garth.
Yeah.
The Garth.
We need somebody in here to break the ice.
Break the ice. It's ice. You gonna get iced?
Yeah.
All right, Zach.
All right.
Recap it. I'm gonna leave everybody with be safe because we're gonna get some.
Yeah, it's the weekend. It's the weekend. If you're going out, if you're ice fishing, take some pictures of your catches. We're gonna have more Trophy Tuesdays. More catch and release Thursdays. Throw it back Thursday.
Throw it back.
Throw it back Thursday, guys.
Well, you know why we came up with throw it back, right? Because you said it Thirsty Thursday.
Thirsty Thursday.
And I'm like, well, we can't really promote drinking. But throw it back can mean more than one thing.
Well, I mean, I was thinking Thirsty Thursday as like, a play on the words because thirsty,
so it's
liquid,
throw it back.
Yeah, I know. So either one works. Now, if you want to see Thirsty Thursdays, just let us have beers at work, and we'll show you what we're drinking on. Now, anyways, yeah, just remember to like, comment, and share on this video. Make sure you're sharing it in all your favorite groups and amongst your friends, just so they know what is going on over here at The Real Shot, what we have up our sleeves for the next couple shows. We had a lot of cool stuff today. Definitely a lot of information that was worth listening to. So if you know somebody who is on their way to buying a bow or is maybe thinking about upgrading, show them this video. They're going to like it. Other than that, though, remember Instagram at TRS Outdoors. Right here on Facebook. If you haven't liked us yet, but you're still watching, go ahead, toss us a like. It wouldn't be the weirdest thing that's happened. Twitter, if you're an avid Twitter user, we do have a Twitter, and it's at The Real Shot. Other than that, I think that's kind of everything. Just remember, we've got that giveaway going on. Share it amongst friends, because the more people that sign up for that real giveaway, the better giveaways we can do in the future.
That's true. That's true. So, well, cool. Well, thanks to everybody chimed in, and thanks for people that stayed on for the whole hour and 15. That's right, about an hour.
Yeah, hour and 20 minutes.
Hour and 20 minutes. So
we did it.
Thanks again, and be safe, and we'll see everybody on Monday.
See you next time.